Council, Mr. Mansour Joe, State Council, and Ms. Bafojen, State Council. I call this press briefing today to provide information about some of the activities of the Ministry of Justice over the past few weeks. The first item I want to talk about is the international cases that the Gambia is presently involved in. You may or may not be aware that this government has inherited some international cases which were filed against the Gambia as a result of the purported acts or conduct of the former government. Consequently, the Gambia now faces a potential legal liability bill in excess of $2 billion. The Ministry of Justice is currently exploring various options for a quick resolution of these cases so that we can put them behind us and focus on the important task of rebuilding and strengthening our justice system. The Ministry of Justice has also been in contact with some international organizations, including Article 19, the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and the International Bar Association in order to seek support for the justice sector reforms. In consultation with the Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure, we will be reviewing a draft memorandum of understanding on a tripartite partnership between the Ministry of Justice, the Gambia Press Union, and Article 19 in respect of reform of the media laws in the country. The Ministry of Justice was also able to secure assistance from the International Senior Lawyers Project in specialized areas of legal practice such as preparing, drafting and reviewing international commercial agreements to cover the capacity deficit in the ministry in the short term in these areas. A senior lawyer will be seconded from this organization to the ministry very soon at no cost to government. The ministry is on the verge of creating the post of Special Advisor to the Attorney General, whose responsibility will be to provide policy advice on the justice sector reforms envisaged by the ministry. The post will be funded exclusively by the British government, and applications will soon be invited from suitably qualified Gambians to fill the post. The ministry is also exploring other ways of showing up capacity at the ministry through donor funding of local support initiatives. We are looking at the possibility of hiring members of the private bar on contract as a stopgap measure, while the capacity of existing resources within the ministry is being strengthened in key areas. Now, in terms of ongoing activities at the ministry, I wish to highlight some of the most urgent ones. The criminal case and detention review panel has already started its work. The panel was established by the ministry in consultation with the Ministry of Interior to review and advise the Attorney General regarding ongoing criminal cases against serving or former public officers, cases linked to a political political activity, and the case of all persons awaiting trial in Women. The membership of the panel consists of lawyers from the Ministry of Justice, staff members from the Ministry of Interior, a representative from the Gambia Police Force, and the Gambia Prison Service. I have started receiving their recommendations on a rolling basis, and I will act based on this. In consultation with His Excellency the President and my cabinet colleagues, the Ministry of Justice is in the process of finalizing the draft terms of reference for the establishment of a commission of inquiry to look into the financial and business-related activities of the former president. The commission is expected to start its work soonest. Meanwhile, the ministry will be writing soon to all government departments, agencies, and organs, advising them to suspend all bilateral contractual engagements with certain identified companies pending a review of the contractual agreements with them. Finally, the Ministry of Justice has requested the police to conduct a more thorough investigation into the case of the NIA 9. I wish to state for the record that this is in no way a reflection of the work of the police. They too have come under a lot of pressure to conduct a complex investigation within a very short time. This is why we must always endeavor to investigate before arrest, rather than arrest and then investigate. Criminal investigations must never be rushed. They require careful planning and strategizing, and may often involve specialized investigation techniques which may not be readily available in this country. Otherwise, there is a real risk of missing or losing crucial evidence which can lead to the collapse of an entire case at trial. This is why it is also preferable that criminal investigations and evidence collection be guided by the Justice Ministry right from the start. We must recognize that we are now operating under a new and different judicial climate, and that our judiciary will be expected to assert their independence, their judicial independence, and will vigorously scrutinize every piece of evidence presented by the prosecution as required in any normal criminal proceeding. That is why we must also adhere to due process. Anyone familiar with serious criminal prosecutions will understand and appreciate the challenge of proving beyond reasonable doubt every element of a crime charge and the modes of liability alleged. Hence, the importance of thinking through certain matters and taking great care before acting. The priority at this moment is to rebuild the justice system of our country and strengthen the capacity of the Ministry of Justice in this process. We must have the necessary legal processes and mechanisms in place to ensure not only prosecutions in the short term, but also safeguarding the fair trial rights of the accused, so that you, the Gambian people, and generations of Gambians yet unborn can live in this country safe in the knowledge that our criminal justice system will dispense justice in a fair, impartial, and we must focus on building a strong, robust, and independent justice system to match the aspirations of the people of this country, so that no one in this country will ever be dragged before our courts for a crime that they did not commit. That is the primary objective of our reform agenda. The Ministry of Justice must therefore be in a state of full preparedness to handle the demands of our criminal justice system in all respects. And frankly speaking, the Ministry of Justice did not need to be put in this position with the case of the NIA-9 at this moment in time. It is rather unfortunate that the Ministry was not consulted by the Ministry of Interior or the police before any action was taken in this case, especially in view of the fact that the Justice Ministry was going to be ultimately responsible for the case when it is presented before our courts. Hopefully, we will all draw appropriate lessons from this experience and adopt a more inclusive, consultative, and coordinated approach in the future. The Ministry of Justice takes very seriously the case of the unfortunate death in custody of Solo Sane and all other similar unfortunate incidents over the past 22 years of the former government. And that is why we must adopt a comprehensive and holistic approach to addressing these justice-related challenges rather than approaching it piecemeal. Moreover, we must be careful so as not to undermine the President's desire to move this country forward by encouraging open discussions about the past and fostering national cohesion and reconciliation through the establishment of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Any action, particularly in these early days, must be geared towards achieving that objective. Any other action that runs contrary to this spirit at this moment in time is both unwise and potentially dangerous. As leaders, we will have to make some hard choices. Difficult decisions form part of the burden of leadership. We must lead by example and at times even lead public opinion in the supreme national interest. Consequently, no new criminal cases involving crimes allegedly committed by the former government will be handled by the ministry unless, and I emphasize, unless they are thoroughly and comprehensively investigated, and until the Ministry of Justice is also ready in terms of its capacity, resources, and logistical needs, and only after the approval of Cabinet. At this moment, we are a long way from that state of trial readiness. The working conditions of the Ministry of Justice must be improved first before we can engage in such high complex and demanding exercises. A Truth and Reconciliation Commission with appropriate reparations for victims will be set up within the next 6 months, and public hearings will be expected to commence by the end of the year. We will need to adapt the lessons learned from other Truth and Reconciliation Commissions to our particular context in the Gambia. Meanwhile, consultations are currently taking place to identify appropriate persons of high moral character and integrity from a cross-section of our social, cultural, and religious communities for appointment as commissioners to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. An appropriate location for the public hearings will also be identified. A public information and awareness campaign shall also be launched soon to start discussions on national television and private radio stations throughout the country about the purpose and objective of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. In conclusion, almost finalized its transitional strategic paper, which details the policy and operational roadmap of the ministry during this transition period. However, a successful implementation of this strategic plan will ultimately depend on the extent and nature of support that the ministry will receive from its key partners, both within and outside government. I hope that we can all work together as one team with the sole objective of fulfilling the aspirations of the people of this country to live in peace, dignity, and the pursuit of happiness. I thank you all. If you have any questions, please let me know. The Solicitor General will be in charge of this press conference, so we will follow her direction. You will have to address many SDs from there.
Thank you very much. Please identify yourself and your organization and pose your question to the Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, my name is Kepa. Thank you very much, Mr. Bataloo, for clarifying a lot of issues here. My question will be, the President has promised to establish truth and reconciliation committee, which you also confirmed here. We haven't seen it yet, but we promised it will be established in this month. You know, but of recent we have seen a lot of several arrests, including the NIA, that is also confirmed, and organized personnel and some of the civilians for crimes suspected to have been committed during last regime. Do you see this as a move that move of putting the hospital for guard for the hospital? Number two, last month, was it last month? Recently, you apologized, on behalf of the government for passing a bill, that was constitutional amendment bill in the National Assembly, where you consulted when this was passed because it was not able by you. Thank you.
I will. Can I respond to that?
Yes.
Before with respect to your first question, I think the statement I've just read now has clarified some of the issues surrounding the relationship between a potential Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the recent arrest. I think, as far as I'm concerned, the President has made it absolutely clear to me that at this moment in time, he wants a Truth and Reconciliation Commission because it is his objective to foster national cohesion and bring about national reconciliation as a way forward. Now, that is what I am working on. That is what I have been mandated with in terms of a transitional justice mechanism, and I am singularly focused on achieving that. That's what I can say for now. As for the second question, I was certainly aware of the proposal to table the amendment bill, and I have taken full responsibility for the error in terms of the procedure, for the procedural error, I may call it. But I think we have closed that chapter now. We should look ahead to other more interesting, challenging times in this country.
Yes, madam, please. Hi, I'm for the French Radio RFI. And you said that no criminal case will be under the ministry, and you are in the truth and reconciliation process. But don't you feel that people who lost relative or family are expecting justice right now, and how would you manage to get them to situation because they want some justice?
Well, I was clear about my statement. I said no new criminal cases will be handled by the ministry unless they are thoroughly and comprehensively investigated, and until the Ministry of Justice is in a position to conduct these trials and only after the approval of cabinet. Now, the reason why the latter part is necessary is because, again, as I said, the President wants to establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It will be the decision of cabinet to determine what other accountability processes they can think of in terms of transitional justice mechanisms. It's not up to me to decide that. But a TRC is also a form of dispensing the transitional justice. We will certainly have reparations for victims who have suffered under the form of government. When we are done with our Truth and Reconciliation Commission, then we can look at other issues surrounding justice. But the priority at this moment in time is to foster national reconciliation and social cohesion in this country. And a TRC, I think, will achieve that objective.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, and sorry for coming late. It was my fault. My name is Seni M.K. Marana. I work with SMBC and the Voice of America. Honorable Minister, I just want to know, there were a lot of cases which were deemed politically motivated during the former regime, and we noticed that some of these cases are yet to be discontinued. I just want to know whether the ministry have plans to review all those cases that were deemed politically motivated to be discontinued. If there is, thank you.
Yes, you came in late. I think earlier you would have my statement on that. We have established the Ministry of Justice, in consultation with the Ministry of Interior, has established a criminal case and detention review panel to do exactly this, to review ongoing criminal cases against current or former public officers or cases linked to a political activity. And they have already started submitting their recommendations to me, and I'll be acting based on those recommendations. We have to have processes in place, procedure to ensure that we do things properly and widely. And that is what we're trying to do at the Ministry of Justice.
Yes, please.
I'm Mohamed Chan, who is Party Network. We have seen that the past, most of the people are foreigners from other from regions. One of these questions is whether the government are joined in the Thank you.
That is indeed the case. I have said in my previous statements that the Gambia is not a xenophobic country. We do not have anything against foreign judges. But I think after 52 years of independence, we have matured into a country that is capable of producing its own judges to preside over its own affairs in its own country. So the preference will be to appoint Gambians at all levels of our superior courts, including in the magistrates' courts as well, the lower courts. But where we lack capacity or expertise or experience in a particular area, we'll be more than happy to welcome technical assistance from our traditional friends and allies. That is the state of affairs right now.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I am Mustafa Dab. I work for Public Talking Intelligence. I particularly focusing my question on the relations between the ministry and the Interior Ministry, and as well as the police with regards to the case 99 question that you made mention of. You made mention of the fact that your ministry is not for trial to it's a long way from trial readiness to take on such cases. And I was in the courts during the trials when the lawyers of the NIA had protested that they should be released because there were no information with regards to the case, the summary of evidences and others before the court. I was wondering if this ministry has adequate information with regards to that case, and also adequate investigations to what had done before, like the exhuming of the death caps, inquiries, and also analyzing them and others. And also, were you in contact with at all with the Interior Ministry with regards to the case before it was taken to court?
The starting point for me is, let me make it clear that there is absolutely no issue between my ministry and that of Interior. In fact, my colleague, the Honorable Minister for Interior, my party, is a very good brother of mine. So there is nothing unusual there. In terms of the cases and consultations between our ministries, I have said in my statement that we were not consulted before any action was taken. Now, these are teething problems in any new administration. Sometimes people tend to act without considering the different ramifications of their actions. But that's to be expected in any new administration. The Justice Ministry has taken responsibility for adopting a wrong procedure and to amend a bill relating to a constitutional provision. The Interior Ministry is equally capable of engaging in acts without necessarily considering the key partners that it must collaborate with to get its job done. This is just one such case. I think I consider it as a leading problem in this new administration, and hopefully we will all learn appropriate lessons from it and adopt a more inclusive and consultative process in the future.
Can I have a follow-up? But when you said that the ministry is long way from trial readiness, would you suggest to President Barrow that those trials of NI9 were discontinued?
No, I will not, because I have been advised by the prosecution division that there is a prima facie case of murder in that case. So we will definitely be continuing with that case, but we have requested the police to conduct further investigations to be able to provide us with the evidence that we will need to prove the guilt of the accused beyond a reasonable doubt. That is the state of affairs at this moment.
Yeah, so I want to get clarification here. There were some journalists who were involved in the trial, of course at the first trial, first level, and then there was compensation, first on the Gambia government. You have inherited this as the government. What are the plans of providing what the government has?
There is no doubt that the Ministry of Justice is committed to honoring the award given by the ECOWAS Court in those cases. And those cases form part of the international cases that I have mentioned earlier on. And I have said that we face a legal liability bill in excess of $2 billion. Now, certainly, we intend to reach out to the families of these journalists and the victims whose cases were concluded before the ECOWAS Court in order to find a quick resolution of the cases with them. Basically, we want to close the chapter in the shortest possible time, put all these cases behind us, and open a new chapter of rebuilding our justice system.
Can we allow one final question from the floor?
My name is I work for the Voice newspaper here, and I like what you say. Recently, we witnessed the arrest of some of the alleged journalists. My name what will be because since this is being arrested, yes, he is not appear for any court at all. And then secondly,
so far as the Ministry of Justice is concerned, we don't have the case file. Here at the Ministry, we have no knowledge officially about this matter, so I can't comment further on it. Perhaps you should address your question to the arresting authority.
I have a follow-up question to make to that. I just want to know, in certain divisions, the office of the Attorney General and that of the Ministry of Justice is distributed. And so independent. Do we foresee a situation here where the Attorney General chambers will be independent of that of the Ministry of Justice?
In light of the enormous challenges that we face in the justice sector in this country, I think that question has not even arisen in my head. Thank you.
One more question. I just want to know when what the campaign promises of the government is reforms, and the reforms, most of it constitutional reforms. I just want to know when these reforms might be started.